Welcome, guys, to the SBN Network podcast. I'm your host, Steph, and with me is...
I'm Scott.
Yes.
And I'm Scott. We know how to do intros now.
This is a podcast where we take some deep dives into some wonderful artists and kind of look at their account in a different way, which is always a little bit positive, a little awesome, and you guys can enjoy their accounts with us.
And now that we've gotten more professional, I try not to say any dumb stuff.
Mm-hmm. And I try to at least always end on a good note.
There
All
it
right,
is.
there it goes. Scott has to take a sip every time. I say this every time too. So.
It preps me.
All right. Well, welcome, Emma. I wanted to say thank you so much. This has been a long time coming. It feels like an entire eternity, and I'm really, really glad that you could make some time for us to talk about your amazing account. I wanted to go through and kind of say as well, I've been following you since I started, really. You were kind of the reason why I kind of got into outdoor photography versus indoor photography. So you're one of my inspirations. So I'm super excited to talk about your account.
And you were definitely somebody I followed pretty early on. I think if I remember, somebody told me about your account because they saw my account and they saw that I was an outdoor person, and it was the same kind of thing. They were like, I think you'd really like her. You should check it out. And I opened your account and I was like, oh, yes, I love this. This is fantastic. So it was, it definitely got my attention. So
thank you.
So yeah, you've definitely been we've been fans for a while.
Been around for a while.
You started the Toy Outsiders, right? You were one of the founders.
Yeah. There was another outdoor toy photography group. I can't remember what it was called now. But they just kind of stopped posting for several months, and I was really enjoying it. So I contacted a few other people I knew that did a lot of outdoor toy photography. Look, do you want to start up a new group? Because this one seems to have died a death, sort of thing. And it was quite good. There was quite a few people involved helping come up with the name and the logo and stuff like that. And then, a few people dropped out and says, I don't think I can commit to it, sort of thing. And I think there was 4 of us in the end. It was kind of posting regularly and we did a few challenges and a few videos and things. Yeah, it was good fun.
It's funny you say that about like something dying off and then you kind of coming back into it, because that is, I swear that happens in like the music scene a lot. That happens in all art forms. Is I think new ideas come out of like, half the group wanted something to keep going, but it didn't get to keep going. So that half the group starts up a new thing and so on and so forth. So I think that's kind of funny that you did it with toy photography.
Yeah. Just seemed to be a lot of the toy groups that were featuring stuff. It was all like indoor stuff. So I just wanted to give a bit of a platform for the outdoor photography, because it's always been my kind of go-to.
Yeah. It's funny. Am I echoing super bad? No, maybe it's on my side. It's funny because I just did an interview with someone and they always ask me, that's the number one question, is why do you go outside? And I'm like, why wouldn't you go outside with a camera? So it's kind of funny to me to like talk to other like outdoor photographers and then indoor people, and it's like painting. It's like a different art style on both sides for the same thing. You take the same action figure in both places and you get 2 different feelings. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, sure. I do like seeing indoor toy photography, and I've done it a bit, but I definitely prefer being in the outdoors. Don't need as many lights for a start.
Yeah. I also feel just in general, I feel more inspired outdoors. Like, I don't know why. I just, when I see things out there, I tend to think a little bit more on the fly. Like, I'll be in an area and I'll start reacting to things, rather than when you shoot inside, there's a lot of like preparation ahead of time, I feel like, and it's less reactive. It's more like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Here's my setup. Here's my scene. These are the lights I need. And this is what I'm trying to accomplish. Where I feel like when you're outside, you don't have that much control. You kind of just have to see a space and work with it. So
grab some figures in a bag, see what you can find while you're out there, and then just exploit that.
Let your imagination figure it out. Yeah, it's nice.
Mm.
All right, let me see if I can get this share screen up. I think it's screen 2. No.
Agreed.
Anyways, for this one, I think I have some images in this later on that I pulled from your newer feed, but a lot of them weren't turtles. So I wanted to stick with the same Leo theme for this because it was very, very cool that you have something back from 2014 with the same characters that you love to this day, which I'm sure you loved them way before 2014 as well. So it kind of just shows through your work. So I kind of want to talk about like what brought you to toy photography and kind of like your story, like where you started.
Well, I suppose if we went right back, I started collecting Blythe dolls, 2004, something like that. And so to find out more about them, I went online and stuff. So I was actually photographing them, but it was more a case of wanting to share your collection or your customization you've done with the world, like on forums back in the day, and on Flickr. But then there was a big break in between. I had the boys, and life took over for a bit. So when I got back into collecting again, it was with the turtles, and that was more 2014 was an open Instagram account, and that's when it became more about, well, not more about the photography, but certainly more about capturing an image or a mood rather than just, oh look, this is what doll I've got today, sort of thing. So so it was 2014. I opened my account mainly to share these repaints I'd done of these bigger figures that I didn't want to bore everyone on Facebook with, who just thought I was crazy. Real life friends and family, like, what is she doing? So to find a bit more of an audience that would appreciate it, and then I saw all this amazing toy photography and all these groups and stuff, so it just kind of snowballed from there, really.
So were you always a Turtles fan, or was that something that happened later in life? Like, I've noticed on your account, like you have, I saw some Walking Dead figures. I've seen Saga figures. So I didn't know if you were like a fan of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comic book where it all began, and then kind of went forward with that, or if it was later on.
Well, I was too young to read the first comic book at the time, but I was definitely a viewer of the cartoon back in the late 80s and that. So I was into it then. And then obviously, a lot of people didn't, but I grew out of it and all the cartoons and stuff. So it was when I had children that it kind of re-sparked that thing. Yeah, my eldest went for an insect day at school when he was 4, and he came back and says, "Mummy, have you ever heard of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?" And I just started singing the theme tune at him. From then on, we kind of revisited the old show and watched the 2003 show and the new show, and I was just like massively into it from then on. That was it. And I've read all the new comics and love those. And so, definitely, I feel like I'm into them more as an adult than I was as a child.
Yeah. Well, the comics are going hard right now. I mean, people are really, it's really made this explosion. I just see it all the time now at the comic book store I go to, because I didn't really know that it had made a comeback. And then I started seeing it more and more, and I was like, whoa, all right, this Ninja Turtles are really having like a rebirth. And, I feel like over the past couple of years, they've just, like, people who loved them when they were younger are like falling back in love with them again as adults and bringing it to their kids. And so it's kind of cool. I like that.
The new IDW comics is where it's at for me. They're like the best version of them, I feel. So really enjoyed those, and they're still going after several years. So
it doesn't show any signs of slowing down either. Like, I mean, it's still, they're publishing it like crazy. So, and they're selling,
like kind of making them new, though. Do you know what I mean? It's always like, there's always a fresh take on them. There's always new story. It's not just the same old origin story revisited. It's there's always new stuff and different directions to take it in. And so
does it kind of change with the writer? Have you noticed, like, as a new writer comes on board, or as a new a new team shows up, it'll tend to shift? Is that generally the process?
A bit, but so far they seem to have always picked the right writer for what the brothers are going through at the time. Do you know what I mean? So it slowed down a lot recently after a pivotal point, and they suffered a loss. And so there was quite a few quiet moments while they were grieving and things like that. And there was a really good writer came on board and who just knew how to do that with them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas prior to that, we'd had a lot of the action stuff, which a different writer who was equally as good at that sort of stuff had done before. So yeah, it's been really, really successful so far. I just hope it carries on.
Yeah.
Doesn't just like dwindle away. But yeah, it's going strong still at the moment.
Yeah, I don't see it ending. It's like Batman or anything else. It's a very strong like image of what you think for your childhood, adulthood, everything. So even like the newer movies, which have been like all the CG and everything going on, my kids love them, and they think I'm cool because I know who the characters are. So I'm gonna play that up until they're like not as
until
cool.
they realize, yeah.
So it's awesome. I just love the way that you showcase them because you put your own little like spin of your own love for the property. So it's kind of like your moments. You like the fun aspect of it, the family, the brotherhood kind of thing. I see it like.
Oh yeah, totally.
You're good at capturing that emotion. Like you make them emotional. You're not just, and this I think comes from just being outside and just enjoying like the natural elements and making them a part of the natural elements. You don't over edit them. You don't make them scary. You don't make them like, it's all like really authentic expressions and feelings. I think that's really cool. You really humanize them. And I think that's a real distinct part of your style is the fact that you take your toys and you make them into very believable, likable, lovable humans, even though they're turtles and aliens and you make people connect to them in a cool way.
Told myself that when you're a toy collector, you see all these figures, you're like, oh wow, that's amazing. Oh, that would shoot really well. But I've always put a limit on myself. I said, look, if you don't know who that character is, don't buy it. Because for me, I feel like I need to know the personality and do you know what I mean of what that figure is supposed to represent, so that I can then shoot it, like you say, in an authentic way. And if just because the figure looks cool, if I don't know who that is, I could just do something completely random that figure wouldn't do. And then fans of that would be like, what? That's not right.
That's not
I don't know. Well, and it's not so much looking like a fake or anything. It's just that's the part of it I enjoy. I enjoy thinking of ideas for these characters that I know. So if I don't know them, I don't know what to do with the figure. Do you know what I mean? So
makes perfect sense.
I'm glad that comes through.
Yeah. And I find the same thing because I collect different sizes and different like types of lines and everything. But when you come back to a series or a set of figures you really, really enjoy personally, it does come through. And it's more fun to take them out and shoot because you have more ideas too. It doesn't matter where you're at or what's going on. You're going to come up with better stuff. This stuff looks really, really good, Emma. Good. If I can move this forward, see, it's just some fun that you have with them.
This is so, like, this just takes me back to the cartoon so hard. Like, it brings me right there again. Are those just little, like, tech deck skateboards? Like, is that? Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was something that came with the Ninja Turtles or if it was, you just found some tech decks and, like, threw them out there.
Yeah, no, I bought them separate.
It's so good.
I just like all the color.
So good. Oh, man.
Thank you.
I don't know how you got them all to stand up, too. I hate having multiple figures.
Some of them on that shot have actually got blue tack under their feet.
Okay.
So, yeah, they've got a bit sticky blue tack, just securing them on a bit because they were a bit wobbly.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I had to edit it out, actually. I think it was all hidden. So
yeah, there's no evidence of it. So you nailed that.
Thank you.
Very cool.
There we go. There's the hero pose. Yeah, like just look at it. Like there's so much feeling there. It's funny because anybody looking at this could see that there's an emotion. And yeah, it's a turtle. It's a ninja turtle, but like everything about it, like the framing and where the light is catching him and the direction of his eyes. It's classic. And yeah, I don't know. You feel this guy. You feel him.
Thank you.
So,
That one's directly influenced from the ending of the 2016 movie. So once they've been given the key to the city, and there is a shot where it's up like that, and he's, feeling quite proud and
triumphant, like looking out.
Yeah. So I was trying to kind of recapture that sort of feeling in that shot.
All right, toy wise, all that stuff that comes with them. That was the little like the fabric straps and all that. Oh my gosh, this
is 3.0. They're amazing.
Yeah.
So they did the first round, like 2014 version. This is the 2016 versions, and they're just phenomenal detail.
That's
with the all the gadgets on Donnie and the fabric stuff, the weapons. It's all just crazy,
insane.
All the texture and the skin and everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And he's pretty posable too, because like they don't even have the joints for like you can see in the elbows, but they move pretty well.
Yeah, there's got like a skeleton that you can pose, but all that's just a rubbery kind of goes over the top sort of thing. So you don't see the joints, but you can still move them. So
I love this photo too. Just pretending for a second that it's not Raphael. Like if you look, just the fact that you got the red in the mask and like the little red accent points, but as a whole, the image is relatively toned down with saturation. There's not, you didn't make it crazy vibrant or anything. It's very muted, but you've got the handle right in the bottom corner with a little bit of red there. And then you've got the red, the back of the mask basically just kind of falling in front. It just kind of, that red stands out. But I mean, red is one of those interesting colors that can really pop, but it can also like overpower a photo if it's done badly. And it's really, really nice. It's calm, but like there's it gives it that extra fire, just that extra like punch. And it's cool. And not that it wouldn't have been cool with, a blue head, a blue eye mask or a purple eye mask, but like the fact that it's the red eye mask, I think really adds to this image as a whole.
I'm very wary of the red when sometimes when I do a group shot, when I'm editing it, and I think, I wonder if I've gone up on too much on saturation. I will check Raphael, because it's like making the red a difficult color, isn't it? And sometimes he looks a bit too much, so I'll tone it down a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean sometimes it can be very cool, but like even going back to old like film scenic photography and stuff like that, you're trying to take a nice scenic shot of a green area, but there happens to be some red in there. It can like completely be distracting from the rest of the image, but it's like perfect here. It's so like it gets me excited. Can't help it.
I think we have like some more from the turtles.
This is wild.
Yeah.
This is wildly. It takes me somewhere strange.
This is one of those where you just grab some figures. I wanted to do those two together, but just went out into the wild and to see what I could find. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Please explain these figures. Where did you get these, and like what made you think to do this? Like,
well, she's Ophelia from Pan's Labyrinth, so that's the NECA figure there, and the little crow guy is. I bought that from a guy who he makes them, so it's an art toy. When I was at Leeds at an event, he had a store. And he does some amazing birds. He does some bigger ones with big skulls as well, but this is like a little guy. Monster Ego Studios, that's his name. So yeah, that's one of his pieces. And I don't know why, I just thought they would go together quite well. So I cut them out. Yeah. And I just gathered some stuff off the floor to kind of make a nest. And then I just really like the look of these plants that was there. So but right, I'll try and get a shot where they're in and a little bit of hazy atmosphere aerosol, and there you go.
Yeah, it's almost like a dark Alice in Wonderland feel. Like it's kind of I like that. I like the we've talked about this with a couple people, the idea of just combining figures that aren't necessarily part of the same universe. They just look good together. And
I watched your podcast this morning with Stefan.
Oh, yeah.
I love Stefan's work.
Yeah, he's a perfect example of that. And I like this because you just make them work together. They're not from the same line of toys. They're not from the same book or movie or anything like that, but they feel like they're supposed to be together in this scene. And it doesn't matter what either character is. It just, if anybody looking at this is like, oh, that makes sense. There's something going on here. Just even the angle of her head, like the way she's looking down, like is very curious. Like she's not, you posed her in a way that she's not like, I don't know. It's not very clear if it's like a friendship or it's more just kind of like, what's your deal? Like her hand isn't even quite in contact with the skull yet. Like we don't know what's happening next. I think that's kind of what's fun. There's a bit of like where is this going? Like I can almost feel the tension. Like I feel like if her hand was hidden behind the skull and it would have looked like she was definitely petting it, and it was like, oh, they're buddies or whatever. But it's like, are they? Like what's going on here? What's about to happen? Because there's no physical contact quite yet, and it's like, I don't know. I think that's really fun. I love stuff like that. I love like questions in photos.
It's nice when you pick up on the details, because although I didn't really think that through with the hand, I was going for, this is their first meeting. Like she doesn't quite know what he is.
Yes.
But Pan's Labyrinth is my favourite film, and it's like with Pan, you never know if he's friend or foe throughout the film, and I kind of suppose wanted to recapture that.
Well, you did it.
Yeah, so
you did it. So you have a few Pan's Labyrinth figures, right? You have several.
I've got them all.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I've seen them in your feed.
I've seen anyway. So if you know of any more, please let me know.
They're such interesting figures, and the way you capture them is I think spot on to the way that they're supposed to be represented. I don't think there's any debate there.
This is actually the only photo I've ever printed.
Oh, what size did you print it?
Oh, I don't know, probably about A4, I think. I was shooting with a friend that day, and when I posted it on Instagram, he really liked it, so I ended up printing it and put it in a frame and give it him Christmas.
That's awesome. Awesome.
But yeah, so that's the only picture I've actually held in my hand and seen for real. That was quite cool.
I've been really on people's cases about printing their photos, because I did it for a while, and now I've started trying to do it just to do it. Even if I'm not planning on putting it in a frame, I'll just print it to see how it holds up printed. And it's really fun, because I mean, I have a lab that's like 30 minutes from here, so it's not terrible, and it's worth it to just kind of check it out periodically. Plus, I kind of want to support like photo labs, because I'm afraid they're all going to disappear someday. Well, so it's like I just sometimes will just print up like an 11x14 just to see. It's like, does this? And if it doesn't, I'm like, well, whatever. It doesn't quite hold up to 11x14, but let's try. But yeah, I'd love to see this printed. It's so cool.
I don't think there was any cropping involved. I'm pretty sure I got the
it looks full frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I made it bigger for this just so we could see it on the YouTube screen, so you could see all the details and everything going on. But the atmosphere aerosol, do you use it quite a bit? Do you like it? Because I find it blows away for me.
It does blow away a lot. I do struggle with it sometimes. It's I have to be ready if I'm using it with a finger on the button and taking the shot at the same time I'm spraying, because otherwise it's gone. I don't use it. I think when I first got it, I was like, "Ooh, I like this." But then I told myself, "Look, don't use it in every shot, otherwise, it just gets a bit samey, doesn't it?" So I don't use it all the time. But I think there's a lot of shots that maybe it's there, but you can't really tell. I can tell because I know what the shot would have looked like without it.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily.
I will say that's the way I feel like you should use it, though. I'm not trying to bash on the air people, but it does get overused and people depend on it. And I feel like it becomes its own character in their Instagram feed. Like it's a figure, and the aerosol. Like it's like it's all together. It's like the Trinity. And I don't feel like it ever becomes that in your feed. I feel like there's always a separation. It's always used with a purpose. And this is something we talked about with Mitch a little bit too, with like fireworks and explosions, is does it help enhance the photo? And I feel like I've never seen you use it. And not that I'm not the god of like how you're supposed to use this stuff. So nobody listen to what I'm saying. But I feel like you use it exactly how it should be used. I think it's used to enhance the photo, and it's not just used as a character in every single photo. And even if it is blowing away subtly and you only get maybe like a third, it's almost like it was meant to be that way. And I feel like it just I don't know, it blends well into your photos. It never feels forced. It never feels like, you're overdoing it. I think it's like the perfect amount.
Thank you. And it's expensive.
Yeah.
Use it when you have to.
I could use a whole can on like one day, like going out there, like trying to take it because it blows away so fast. And I'm just like, well, there goes $30. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, get that boost on and take all the pictures and as quickly as you can. Make sure you get some because it's gone in seconds, isn't it?
Yeah, and then you have something fall over as you spray like the picture out.
Yeah.
The same stripes.
All right, I had to make this photo appear, and I know I talked to you a little bit about it before. When I looked into this, what Grum is that? Grum.
He's the Grum Reaper.
The Grum Reaper. This one, am I correct? It did actually represent like. Was it for depression or something like that, or mental illness or something?
Well, again, it's an art toy. The guy who makes them is called Brad, and he has been quite open with his battle with mental health issues. I don't know if he's still doing it at the minute. I've not spent an awful lot of time on Instagram recently, to be honest. But he was doing lots of very open videos, just talking about stuff like this, just trying to raise awareness of mental health and stuff. So this is kind of a product of his that came from his battles with it all, and so I was happy to support that. I've met him a few times at ToyCon and things, different events and things. So he's obviously very passionate about it, and it's great.
It is such an interesting little figure. And I started, when I saw this photo, I started digging into it. That's why I'm bringing this up, because I started digging into his background and his story. And he has a few figures and toys and whatnot that represent different types of mental illness and struggles and stuff like that. Like I know he has now, I think he just did adults with ADHD one and stuff like that. Like he keeps doing them. And I think it's really interesting. And I kind of had mentioned it to you. I think there's more people in the toy photography community that struggle with these things and aren't willing to talk about it. And I think that's a little bit sad. I feel like people should feel a little more comfortable talking about it because I don't feel like you can get anywhere unless you do. As somebody who has struggled with it for as long as I can remember, doing this toy photography has been very, very much a therapy for me. And I feel like if more people could be honest with themselves and the people around them and find that, I think it would be really neat. And I like that you just kind of posted this, threw all those hashtags on there, and, you were, being a voice and like, making it known that you're not judging people for the things that they struggle with and stuff. And I think I've been trying to figure out ways to do that a little bit more. I haven't really nailed it yet. But it's, this guy it was interesting, and he put me down a rabbit hole with this. So I saw the hashtag with toys. What is it?
Tiny Toys has a
toys in mind.
With toys in mind. Yeah. And I thought that was really interesting. And it's just, again, I think there are a lot of people in this community that have used this, I think, as a therapy, as a way to decompress, as a way to separate themselves and disconnect from the world. It's like their meditation. And I think it's worth talking about and worth, admitting that that's part of what you do it for. I mean, like I said, I do it for that. And I know, like you guys may not have dealt with anything like that, but it has definitely on occasion, like I've taken photos that I never even posted. I just used it as a way to just disconnect. Like I needed, let's say I was in a weird headspace, things were not going right. I just went and took some photos, and they were garbage photos, but at least I got to just do it. It was the time I spent doing it that helped me kind of, reel me back in. And so, so I think this photo is really cool, what it represents, what that little character represents, and the fact that you kind of put it out there as like an ally to that community. So
I think it's great. It was such an expressive way, can't it? You're using figures. So, I mean, you can be so, whatever you're feeling, you can put into the characters without revealing too much personally, making yourself feel too vulnerable. You can pose these figures and explore different emotions and capture that in a photograph that speaks to other people without necessarily having to open up too much if that's not where you're at that moment.
If you're like an introvert, if you're somebody who is more introverted, this is your way of being an extrovert without necessarily having to like really voice your thoughts and stuff. You can kind of do it subtly.
And people can, share that with people, and people can latch onto it and understand the feelings involved in that picture. And, maybe people feel that they're not alone if they can share that and connect. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Just through these images that just contain raw feeling and emotion. I think that's quite powerful.
Yeah. And then you have a really cool figure out of it too. Like
absolutely.
This was the Master of the Universe Skeletor edition.
Oh,
and the greeny yellow paint is actually glow in the dark.
So cool. So cool.
So cool. What are you, little guy too? You need to take a picture of him in the dark though too. I want to see something.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, I should do that actually. Yeah. It's UV light on him.
This is great.
Most of these shots that we're putting up, actually, to think of it, they're in my back garden.
That's great.
I've not even ventured out outside of my garden. Yeah, this one was in my garden just before my husband was going, I need to cut the grass. I'm like, don't cut the grass. I need
Leave it. Well, you did something that I know I do all the time with the out of focus blades in the front to create that depth. You're using it in the same way. Sometimes I feel like people use like the atmosphere is it creates that, a little bit, it creates atmosphere without actually needing to use atmosphere. And I think that's great. Having those out of focus blades really kind of puts like perspective into it. It gives you some levels, and it doesn't just, it's not just it like character background is there's different spaces that you can view. And, even that little bit that goes over the guitar in the front, I think is super cool. Like that you have that one little blade that kind of crosses over it, showing that he's kind of recessed behind. Too cool. This is a good one. This is real. This is like believable. That's what's so fun about it.
I was really chuffed with this one actually, because I just plunked him in the garden. I wasn't really expecting too much, but then when the light hit the grass and then I was just tweaking, I was playing with it in the edit, just on my phone. And when I don't know why I did do it, to be honest, I can't remember. But I just know I got it to a point where I was like, ooh, that looks interesting. And just went with it, and then I was like, oh, that came out better than I thought it would.
It's great.
Yeah.
Do you edit on your phone mostly, or do you edit on the computer mostly?
All the time.
You edit on your phone? That's, yeah. You do a great job with it.
The Photoshop Express app.
Mm-hmm.
I just have the free version because most of it's available on the free version, and you can it still outputs the pictures in a really good quality as well. I know you don't necessarily need that for Instagram, but I just thought then if I do want to print anything, because when I printed that other one, that had just been edited in the Photoshop app on my phone and it printed fine.
Yeah.
It kind of keeps the size of it and everything. So I don't want to spend loads of time editing photos, then get compressed. And if I do want to print them, I've got to start from scratch,
Yeah.
Yeah, I use that. It's all on my phone.
No, absolutely. I've never really used Photoshop Express. I've never really used an app on my phone that does not compress. I think, and I might get yelled at for saying this, I think Snapseed does generally compress the file. So I really only do that as like a last resort, like just at the end, just to make sure it looks kind of the way I want it to look on my phone versus the way it looked on my computer. Sometimes I'll do like a little tweak if it's like a little bit darker on my phone or a little bit brighter on my phone. But as a whole, I try to edit it in some program that will allow me to print it, like you said, where it's the full image.
Do you ever pull them up on your computer at all? Do you ever see them?
No, I didn't even have a computer until about 2 years ago.
I was just thinking about that because when I go out and shoot them in the little tiny camera frame, they look awesome. And then when I blow them up, I always end up getting rid of images because of the quality, like enlarging. And I'm wondering if you have so much more success because you don't have to worry about looking at it so much larger and doing all that stuff. And then it's just a natural flow from one smaller image to the phone, keeping the quality moving forward. I will say that because you have like the light on the right hand side coming through, like the swipe. I remember a lot of people didn't like the distractions of like the blades of grass and stuff coming up and through. And I'm so glad that you used to do it because it was one of the things that I really enjoyed about outdoor photography is that you're outdoors. There's going to be stuff in your way, leaves and everything else. And so it's nice to see in this image too that you let the environment be, and then you have the figure part of its world. So it's really cool.
There's sometimes it's this stuff that's, really obviously at scale and just doesn't look right that I will move out the way or, but a lot of the time, go with what's there. Don't stress about it too much.
It's funny. I used to do this even with like portrait photography of people. Like I always enjoyed that kind of I guess like that voyeuristic view, like where it's somebody looking at somebody. Like I know like Hitchcock did it in films and stuff like that, where you're viewing it as if you're a character viewing the character. And so the idea that there's somebody here, that you're that person looking at this person playing guitar in a field and you're looking through the field to see them and they may or may not know you're there watching, I think is kind of interesting. I think it's an interesting perspective. Like I said, Hitchcock's a master and he did it all the time. So it's just goes to show there's some validity to it.
I've taken a few shots with that in mind, actually, like thinking I'm a spy. Spying on what they're doing.
Yeah. It's
a good way to approach it.
Got an appeal.
I have to throw in the Mythic Legions because they're just...
I've just got the big red wings for her and they look amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah, take a picture.
I still have not gotten a Mythic Legion, so the closest I had was using Gimli. So that was why I went that route. Because I love what you do with these types of characters a lot. Like I love what you do with the turtles, obviously, but like this is kind of interesting too. I like the
fantasy element.
The fantasy element, yeah, exactly. It's really cool.
Yeah, in fact, this is my back garden as well.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, what's all the fire?
Yeah, what's all the sparky stuff?
Just little bombs. They look just round black bombs with the wick, and you just light them and they go.
That's it? Oh my gosh!
Yeah, looks like Danger Mouse. Boom! But no, I just got them off Amazon. I think there's about 10 in a box, something, and they spark like this, and it probably lasts about 5-6 seconds. It's not massive long time, but you get your camera on boost and you've got quite a few shots to choose from.
Well, I like it because it's subtle. It's not like a ton of. Sometimes when I've used fireworks and stuff, the amount of smoke that it puts off and the amount of fire that it shoots out, I'm just like, okay, this is a little.
I was probably quite worried about, because I really like this figure, so I was probably worried about damaging her. So she probably isn't too close compared to how close I might have put something else. But yeah. Yes, they're pretty good. I need to get some more actually because they were fun. There's a friend that got me convinced to do that. I was like, oh yeah, and we had well over time. They didn't last They didn't last very long. We got through the whole box quite quickly. We were just enjoying it too much. But yeah, it was good fun.
To talk about the reds again from earlier, like, because she's all like red and dark and everything and really cool. Yeah. So like the fireworks just add that extra, like, it's like balances it out, almost like a sunrise coming from one corner to the other, or sunset. Pick your time of day.
Yeah,
but it's really neat.
No, and now hearing Steph say that actually pointed that out to me. That was something I didn't even really notice before, is the tone of the fireworks on the one side from behind is so much, it's like a little warmer over there, a little redder, a little oranger, and then it's more yellow and white over on this side. And it's like, well, I think I'm backwards. Yeah, I'm realizing I'm pointing at the screen and then I just look, but whichever. One side has the lighter ones with the yellow sparks, and the other one's a little bit deeper and darker. I like that too. And again, that's not really something you can control. That's just working with what happens and react and just letting it, sometimes you get lucky. And,
I think that's why I chose this shot, because you've got obviously you've got the sparks behind her, but then you've got some in front as well. So it rather than it, do you know what I mean? Like she's surrounded by the explosion rather than it being completely over there.
No, it looks really good. And she's like, their joints are really stiff on these ones. Like they do a good job of keeping them not going to be loosey-goosey. So you actually got her to like strut. I have yet to like without their front part falling off because of like the little
yeah.
So I was really, this made me happy because she's definitely hard to get her entire being in frame too in a good way because she's got the horns and everything too. So very cool.
This is great. This is great, echoing the crow from before, in a more humorous way.
Stole his guitar. You still got it.
I love it. I love that. I love all the little fists too in the front.
Yeah. Creating that gig environment.
And you're also creating the same effect that you kind of did with the grass before. I know it's different, obviously, because they're little fists, but like the little fists are kind of working in the same form that the grass was, creating that depth and those layers in the image. This is funny though. I like this. It makes me so happy.
I even cut my my friend's hair for that.
I was going to ask.
I was like, Randall, can I just snip a bit of your hair, please?
So good.
I need it for my photo.
So good.
Yeah. So that's real hair. It's got there.
That's amazing. I love to. I haven't watched Turtles in a long time. The brain. What is the brain again?
That's Krang.
Krang. Yeah. Like I love that
he's from outer space.
You can just see him. Like he's there. Like the little eye is like looking over. Like I think it's too funny. Like it would have been so easy to cover him up with the guitar, but obviously you chose not to, and it looks perfect.
Well, like the belly lights up blue.
Yeah.
That's all lit up. So yeah, no, I had fun doing that one. I was just chuckling to myself the whole time.
you have to put humor into this.
Yeah.
But Krang singing would be awful. Just so you know.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that entire time. I'm like, oh my goodness. So I guess we can go into the challenge photos.
Yes.
So we're gonna have double challenge this time. So for this one, so we have our black and white photos challenge, and this will go more into like Scott's since I pulled both the same images, so we get it to there. But just so you know, like the classic black and white comics for Ninja Turtles, I thought this was a really good play on that too, because you're a classic Ninja Turtle fan. So I really liked that you went with all four of them. And this is going to kind of go into that next question: is which one's your favorite? You have a favorite brother?
That seems stressful.
That is a tricky question. When I was a child, it was hands down Michelangelo.
Mm-hmm.
Then when I got back into them, I was kind of like, oh, Raphael's really cool though. And then I thought, I can't put any of them in last place, so now I just
Yeah.
I find it really difficult to choose. I think it's depending on what series I'm watching, what comic I'm reading, or what. Then there's always one that stands out, I think, but it's not always the same one, so it kind of varies. But yeah. Mike is probably the best one to use for a lot of the photography I do, because I try and just make it fun a lot of the time. So he's probably a good one for me to use. But then you get the Leo with the meditating and the anger with the Raphael. It's always interesting takes on all of them.
So here's a question then, kind of jumping off of that idea though. Not necessarily your favorite brother, but do you have a favorite representation of the crew altogether? Like whether that be a particular cartoon, comic, movie where you feel like they were exactly how you would want them to be.
Yeah, well, I say the IDW comics are brilliant, but I also really like the Nick series that was 2012. So not the recent Rise one, the one before that, which is what these ones are based on. These figures are based on. That was really good, done really well. But yeah, so yeah. Probably
I also
that.
want to point that out too. The black and white does take me back to like the old original comics. Like it makes me think of that. I feel like they look good in black and white. I think you had both told me about the fact that they released the figures in black and white. Didn't they do something like that? Or like, was there like a special edition set that was in black and white?
Yeah, the Mirage Shirt NECA did.
Okay.
They did. I've got them in green, but they did release them in black and white. They're mainly white with black lines on.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I like black and white comics. Like that was one of my favorite things about reading The Walking Dead was I was seeing a comic in black and white, and you forget sometimes that it's in black and white. I think that's what's really good when it's really good and it's well written and it's fascinating. You're interested and you're deep in it. It's like I almost have to remind myself that it's in black and white. And I've reread The Walking Dead like once a year since it's like, it's just, I love it. And I really do. I love it in black and white. I think it's so cool. I think it's such a neat thing.
It, doesn't it? Yeah.
It does. It like makes perfect sense. And I remember people thinking that was such a crazy idea at the time. And that's why the first issue was so limited, because they were like, no one's going to buy this. And then it exploded. People lost their minds over it. So go figure. But I love black and white comics. It always catches my attention.
We kind of go right into your fall image with the color.
Amazing. I have nothing to say. Amazing. It's amazing. Those freaking scooters and the little scarves and everything. Again, you took such a fun, light approach to it. I love it.
But initially I was just thinking, wow, color palette. Because when you first told me I was doing autumn, I was like, we were in the middle of a heat wave here in the UK. I was like, oh God. But yeah, so I thought, right, color palette. And I was like, red, orange, yellow, green, brown. I'm like, well, that's Mikey and Raph. And then I've got those scarves from my Gremlins. I've got the carol singing Gremlins.
Oh, that's right.
So yeah, unfortunately, I found some turtles that they fitted okay on. And I've had those scooters for years. All those years ago.
So good. So good. It's funny you say that about the color palette, because that was, I know I jokingly put it in my post about how I would explain it in the podcast, but that was something that I originally, when I was going, because I went back through your feed again, there were a few things. Like I went back and I actually considered taking photos of my Michonne figure for the first time. And I was like, oh, that's what I'm going to do, because I was like, she's done some Walking Dead stuff. I could do like a hero concept, it'd be kind of cool. But then I backed off on it because I'm like looking around, like you said, heat wave. Everything here right now is 100% green. It's like everything is like as summer. We're in the depths of summer right now. There isn't the slightest bit of yellow or orange anywhere. Like I was looking for like wildflowers. We went up to upstate New York. I had some figures up there, and I was like, there's nothing that felt like fall. And so I started getting really pissed. I was like, I don't have an idea for where this is going to go. And then I also started thinking more on the the idea of like what we've been doing. And I felt like it would have been a discredit to like what we've been trying to do here if I redid it, because I've always liked like my first impression. And I feel like it would have been like if I had done it differently, the way my brain works, I feel like I would have been doing it. I would have had like a totally different view and approach of your work, and it would have been, I would have gone off in some other direction. And I liked sort of sticking to my original ideas of what you represent as like a photographer.
Yeah.
But
all the trees here are green as well, but those red and yellowy leaves, it was actually a weed that I found under a tree.
Oh my goodness.
It's like this big. And I was like, that'll do. And
it was perfect.
Shoved it behind the fence.
It was perfect.
So yeah.
But yeah, so
I know what you're gonna find outdoors.
Yeah, and then what happened was I revisited these, and I had forgotten what the colors were in the background, but I remembered them being more browns and yellows. And even though I'm trying to remember, I took these in the spring, but there was still like whatever was around the area was warmer, more autumn vibe. And even Gimli as a whole he's got the oranges and the browns and stuff like that. And I just went, no, I would not be, I can't do it. I gotta just reuse him. But yeah, it was fun too, because this was the first time I photographed him. I didn't even know if I was going to take him out to take photos of him until we did your style, because I was like, well, he's just going to sit on my shelf and look cool. Cause I have some figures like that I've gotten cause I like the character, but I don't really know if I'm going to take pictures, and kind of forced me to take pictures of him. I'm happy I did. So I appreciate, I thank you for that.
You're welcome.
But yeah, it was fun going with like a more fantasy style and going with that sort of lower to the ground, looking up at the figure. I think you do a really good job making the figure look mighty. A lot. You can really, you make the figure look big, and which is not always easy to do. You have to really commit to, getting down low and really getting dirty. Yeah, you do. You need to be willing to make that choice, because it is not always easy making it look big. And you do, like, those turtles sometimes, I mean, they look enormous, like, and I'll look at the photo, I'm just like, oh man, he looks so intense, like. And so getting down low, your perspective, using the background like that's there, that's such an important part of your style. Is, as you as an outdoor photographer, you don't use a ton of props, you don't like throw stuff in there. Again, not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's your style is very just clean. And
no, I like seeing them. I just don't own any. Even that little stereo thing on the last shot was borrowed from a friend. Because I just don't have any. And I think I made the decision a few years back not to buy them, because I was just spending so much money on figures, and I would rather buy the figures. Mm-hmm. So I thought, it's just never ending when you go down that route. But I'm getting to the point now where I'm thinking maybe I could have less figures and more props.
I'm trying to get the hang of props. Steph's really good at balancing. Steph balances the outdoors and props really well, I think. It's I just haven't played much with it. Like, it's kind of, it's like I always
feel
sort of
like
try.
I might lose if I get too much though too, because I don't know about you, but once you get a really good shot, I get excited and I'll jump up and stuff will just scatter. Like, you get
this photo is great. Oh, and it never happens again because I just made a mess.
I just went out and did some stuff in the creek, and so I put my camera on this flat tripod, and it's literally the water could go over the top of it, so I had to throw stuff closer to the figure, and it's one of my Nendroids, and their hands pop off and everything. I'm gonna lose some kind of bits. There's not going to be all these bits. I didn't, because I was trying to be careful, but accessories sometimes in outdoor photography can be not seen again. So
one time I was shooting my mister from Shira in a lake, and she's got a green seashell horn, and I'd put that down on the grass near the lake, beside the lake, and I left it there, and I was like, oh god, when I realised I'd lost it, And we went back the next day and it was just still sat there.
Good.
Been shooting. I was like, oh.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I've gone back to places like 6 months later and found random Nendoroid parts. No one else in their right mind is the pieces, and I'm like, I didn't even know I lost this. Yeah. So perfect. Yeah. Super excited. So,
and I'm always like in the garden, like, right, stop, everybody stop. I've lost a peg. It's an elbow joint, and they're
nobody
like,
move
in the grass, and they're like, what color is it? I'm like, it's green. Like, oh God, I've lost a pair of nunchucks amongst all these brown sticks.
Yeah, it's like, get low, start crawling.
Like, oh, yeah, nothing's ever bright purple or something, that stand out. It's always green or brown.
Yeah. That's the thing with, I still haven't, I don't know how I haven't, as somebody who is generally an outdoor photographer, I still have all the weapons. Like all the like little pistols and stuff from my Black Series figures. I don't know how. Like, and the other day even, Hera from Rebels comes with this like itty bitty handgun that like goes into her like boot. I dropped it and I somehow found it. Like, and it's so tiny. But I'm waiting for the day that one of these pieces disappears. But so far I've been lucky.
I just break them instead. I'm more likely to break them than lose them. Yeah.
I broke a sword the other day. I don't remember what it was from. I think it was a Mythic Legion sword too, which made me really sad inside because they're hard to replace. But yeah, I just figured I've come accustomed to I'm going to lose something or break something, especially if I'm hiking around. So it's just kind of part of the game, I guess.
Sure.
I had to leave mine because I bought the NECA Baxter just for the shot.
I love these figures. They're so cool looking.
He's just cool. The lines that are really thick on these figures are like to make them comic booky are just so easy to photograph and everything. I just kind of wanted to get the natural feel, and I cropped this quite a bit because over here there's like you can see the lights and stuff, but I was trying to be a little bit better. But when I went out for the fall shots, I just took these two guys out.
So amazing.
That's cool.
Oh my God. They really are cool. Like they are so cool. I love the little frogs below them just hanging out.
Hi. Because I remember when I was a kid, when I watched the episodes with these guys in it, I always thought they were like the coolest. I thought they were like actually like the Battletoads like crossover. I remember as a kid, but had nothing to do with it. But as when I literally make up stories about stuff. So when I saw them, I had to have them. The only other one I really want is Leatherhead because he's like my favorite video games and stuff. So his alligator with a cowboy hat, basically.
That's cool.
I just found some of my my old Ninja Turtles recently in like a little bag. The ones from like the early 90s, like that run, and they're in okay shape. I wasn't super aggressive with my toys when I was younger. I was pretty chill, but they definitely look like they've seen some stuff. But I don't know. Maybe they're photographable.
Yeah. It'd be kind of fun. But I did find leaves, but they were huge, but I just left them. So it doesn't,
but they're frogs. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, exactly.
Frogs would be round leaves.
I don't think it matters anyway, because it's just in the, foreground or background. It's all just blurred, isn't it? That's not what you're looking at. It's just adding a bit of texture and stuff to the picture. It's the figures is the main focus. I think it looks good.
Yeah. I was trying to get
hang on a minute. Where did you find brown leaves like that in the middle of summer?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
We're trying to take autumn shots, and you've got like proper awesome leaves in your shot.
Yeah, I'm sitting there getting stressed out because I can't find anything that's not like the green as green can be. And you found fall leaves in the middle of July.
Welcome to where I live. So we don't have like seasons. Like it's literally like 60 degrees or like 40 degrees. Like it's cold most of the time around. So this whole bridge, the creek, everything had like a bunch of like the big maple like leaves falling right now. So our summer doesn't really start until like end of August. So it's like still kind of goofy.
That's when ours finishes.
Yeah. I think we get like 2 weeks worth of sunshine, basically. So, just where we live. There we go.
That is too good. Do they make a like a furry Splinter, like an actual like?
No, not that I've
should.
seen. I know.
I think that would be really cute.
I've been saying for years there just is not enough Splinters.
Yeah.
It just doesn't get made nowhere near enough. So this is one I've had for years. That's part of the little subject sign with the big heads.
Okay.
But I really like the design, and I just tend to use him with a lot of the figures because obviously you get away with them being quite little anyway. But yeah, they're just. I mean, I know recently there's been a few new out, but I mean, I've been waiting years and years. Like, somebody make a Splinter figure. Come on. It's just, I don't know why it's taken so long.
Emma, I feel like you would know this better than most people I know. Who owns most of the licensing to Ninja Turtles? Like, how has that gone?
It's from the 80s. It's Playmates, and they still have the license, so they do all the new stuff, for Rise and that. They did lots of stuff with the 2012 show. And I don't know, I think that's why it's taken NECA some time, because some of the stuff they were doing, Playmates, I guess, wasn't interesting. They were doing like the old Mirage stuff. And then they were doing when they did do the 1990 film stuff. I don't know if it's because it's slightly different scaled and if that's how they got around it or what. But so, but then I think it might be different when you go other side of the planet as well, because obviously there's companies over there like SH Figure Arts and stuff like that have been able to do stuff with them, and 3-0. So, but yeah, Playmates has had them since that's the cartoon was made to sell the Playmates toys, basically.
Okay. Yeah.
So they've had it all that while, and somehow NECA have managed to negotiate something.
Yeah, I remember I watched that Netflix thing on the Ninja Turtle toys a while ago when that first came out. And that was really interesting, like how much of it was like for the purpose of selling the toys. And that's just so fascinating to me.
Like He-Man.
Yeah, exactly. Like that was the end game. The end game was not the story. It was not keeping people interested in this. It wasn't advertising revenue. It was really just about like, how many products can we sell through this thing? This is our advertising, which I just think is such a fascinating approach to toys. But yeah, that's pretty interesting. Ninja Turtles, man. I think we talked about this a little bit, but I gotta get back into Ninja Turtles. I'm so curious now. I feel like I'm missing out on something.
You are.
I just, oh God.
Did they ever make a Splinter to go with like the black and white turtles? I don't think they ever made
not that I'm aware of. I don't think they even made one in colour, because they did an April O'Neil, didn't they?
Yeah,
in the full blue jumpsuit.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's what I mean. I don't know why he gets so overlooked. Surely he's an integral part of the family.
Yes,
they wouldn't be ninjas without him. Come on.
All right, if you had to go to Comic-Con, all right? But you had to cosplay as a character from Ninja Turtles.
Oh gosh.
Who are you going as? Who are you going as?
Probably Shredder.
Shredder? Nice.
Ooh.
That is so rad.
That was not
so rad.
Yeah, Shredder. I think so.
Good choice. That's cool. I like that. That'll be fun. It's a fun outfit. It's a wild
outfit. with the helmet as well.
Yeah, with the helmet and everything, and get the cape and all that.
And the spikes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is real cool. I love it. I love it. Oh my God. Right. Guys, we made a full hour. We did it.
Woo! Yeah.
Such good stuff. The where I know you're not like a professional toy photographer or anything, but do you have other accounts and stuff? Do you have like a toy related Twitter or anything like that? Or is it just your...
No, I just do it on Instagram.
Just on Instagram?
Yeah, just keep it simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've posted a few on Facebook groups and things before, but yeah, generally I just share on Instagram, and that's my lot really.
Yep.
So,
I get
It's
that.
not a bad thing. It's a good thing.
yeah.
A lot of us do. Seriously, I feel like a lot of people have gotten into this Instagram thing there. We're not, people aren't trying to have like 20 different platforms they're working on. Like I know I've even tried, like I have a Facebook page, but like it's just all it does is take everything from Instagram that I post and dumps it on my Facebook page. So it's not like I'm not actually keeping track of it. I don't know what's going on over there.
So, I know I'm the same. I've got like a different account for work where it's Instagram, and I just, like you say, just dump it to the Facebook page and I barely even visit it. Really.
Yep.
But just on Instagram. It's where everybody else is though, as well, isn't it? So. Yeah.
Till they come up with something better, I guess.
Well, I remember that people throughout the years, people have got a bit fed up with Instagram and they're changing the algorithms again. And then like a bunch of us have migrated across to another platform.
Yeah.
But then we're still posting on Instagram because not everybody's gone across. And then eventually the new platform just gets abandoned and we all go back to Instagram.
And everybody goes back to Instagram. You're right.
And that's happened like 2 or 3 times now. And I was like, oh, do you know what?
Yeah. No, that is the cycle. You see it all the time.
Instagram does now. I think that's it. Just stick with it.
There you go.
Make do, really.
And Instagram has such a, like, it is the biggest reach and the biggest photo community. And, love it or hate it, it is what it is. And it's kind of like the way that I know some people feel about like Amazon and stuff like that. It's like, unless we have some other option, it's kind of, it is what it is. So,
and it's going to keep changing because
of course.
It's just the nature.
Absolutely, it is.
Times.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Emma, thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem.
Wonderful having you.
You can probably tell here it's getting dark now. I'm fading away.
Yeah. So I'm going to have your handle posted up and everything like that. So I just wanted to also say thank you. And this is the time where I'm going to say I'm going to hit end broadcast.
Thank you. Bye.
Well, y'all, thank you for listening to another wonderful episode of the combined SBN F-Stop Rebel podcast. Truly a pleasure. I hope you enjoyed everything. Remember, please do not grow up. It's a waste of time. I am Scott, F-Stop Rebel, and there's obviously Steph.
Yep, I'm still here, and you can find me at Slag My Thrilla or the SBN. You'll see all the credits on the end, but I always want to say, just guys, stay awesome and keep it up.